Welcome back to Ideas at Work and Beyond. It's Thursday, November 1st. We're in the home stretch for these elections. Ivan was talking with Helena Brentis, who's the Democrat trying to unseat a Republican in Danbury. And tonight we're joined again by Scott Mason, the Republican who's trying to unseat a Democrat.
How do you do, Marty? Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. We're delighted to have you. We're really going down the home stretch here. You've been in numerous debates. You've shook hands in front of delis, at train stations, at Dunkin' Donuts, rain or shine, contrary to popular belief. You've debated in front of schools, in front of Chamber of Commerce, in front of League of Women Voters, in front of your fellow citizens at the Playhouse. How you holding up?
I'm holding up fine. You know,
Are you glad you got talked into doing this?
I'm absolutely glad. I'm glad the process. It's a journey, like I've said before, worth taking. I'm glad to be here and glad to have this opportunity to serve down in Ridgefield.
Okay. Well, throughout your campaign, you talked about a couple issues, and I want to, this might be your last chance to talk to a number of people out there that are tuning in on Thursday night. This might be your final opportunity to touch on some of these things that you think are important. A couple of them are leadership, Bennett's Pond and what this proposed settlement is with them, moving some of these meetings around and a general lack of coming to any concrete decisions regarding budgets and so forth, what you like to refer to as long-range planning. And then you wanted to talk a little bit about your vision of what Ridgefield could be. Having lived here all your life, realizing what it is, give us a few minutes on some of those issues.
Okay. Let me start with your last point first, if I may, Marty. I've been here about 40 years. I moved here in 1968. And when I moved here, I lived on a road called Standish Drive, where we had block parties. And it really was a block party. You know, we had people working for different corporations bring things to the end of our cul-de-sac that we had. And there's some people bring food, some people would drink, some people provide entertainment, we play volleyball, but it was truly a neighborhood venture, and you got to know who your neighbors were. So when things come up like ball fields and stuff in town, you had a relationship with people and you could talk to them and you could get them solved among yourself. So it wasn't as contentious when we went to referendums and things like that. I think we've gotten away from that in Ridgefield. I think now the special interest get together in groups and they get blocks of people to come out to vote for things. And sometimes it's not in the best interest of Ridgefield at that particular time. They may be good things to have, and we may want to do them. The library, the fire department, the police department, the new ball field, all things that I think we need to look at and we need to get done in our long-term planning. When are we going to do these things? You know, when we did the school bundle, these things should have been on the agenda before. So we know if the school bundle came in, how would that affect these things? Would we still be able to get them done? Now we're not doing anything for a couple of years because of the bundle and our debt, which is between 14 and 15 million, depending on who you want to talk to. So we need to get long-term planning. We need to get these out in front of the town, not just when we have our town meeting in the springtime and we say, pony up, we need the money to get these things down. But now, have a map in town hall, what we plan to do, when we plan to look at this project and how we need to go forward and when we need to go forward. And we need to start with that so the people can be informed, not, like I said, when it's time to pass the green dollar up and pay for it. Your next thing is that you asked me about, Marty, that you brought up was Bennett's Pond.
Bennett's Pond, yeah, that seems to be an issue that has been in the forefront now for many years. The taxpayers have spent millions and millions of dollars to acquire this property. The property was originally zoned for corporate development, and it seems like now in the bottom of the ninth inning, we're cutting a deal with Eureka that might not be in the best interest of Ridgefield, allowing for a lot of residential development there. What would you do with Bennett's Pond, and what do you think are some of the problems that we've had so far?
Well, I think the problem right now with the proposed solution is like I've said before, we could have had this deal 2 years ago when it was on the table. So now in the last 2 years, we spent tens of thousands of dollars, up to hundreds of thousands of dollars in defending ourselves in court when we didn't have to. We could have had the deal 2 years ago. That's the big problem that I have with it now. Not
Just
so
lack
much
of planning again.
the lack of planning. We should have talked. You ought to be, you know, when you're first selectman, you don't want to do planning and zoning's job, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But you certainly need to convey what you think is in the best interest of Ridgefield to any department, and then let that department or that commission do their job. But make sure that they know what you think as first selectman is in the best interest of Ridgefield for the job if they're trying to do. You need to plan ahead. You know, the first selectman tried to do that 2 years ago. He tells me I should keep my nose out and let planning and zoning do their job and not get in and tell them what to do. Well, he did that in a motion that went down 5-4 2 years ago. Maybe a little more persuasive argument or doing your convictions of that what you think are best for Ridgefield. Maybe we could have gotten that done 2 years ago instead of people staying along party lines, if you will. You need to be able to influence and convey your ideas to everybody, regardless of party, and do what's best for Ridgefield. And your last topic is that you brought up is the building projects. And it's more than just the unit ventilators. You know, in the last 8 years or so, our taxes have gone up by 75%. If we could have completed these building projects done, say 2 years after it was first started, then we would have gotten millions of dollars from the state to help offset that tax base, and maybe we could have done some of these things. We could, if we had that money back from the state, we could have done that $1.4 million referendum question for the ball field. We would have had the money to pay for that from the state, and it wouldn't affect the tax dollars to the individual citizen.
For the synthetic field.
For the synthetic field. For a good idea, something that I think we need. But you know, the unit ventilators, and even though the problem may have been addressed now, and they work on low and medium, when you buy something that's supposed to work on low, medium, and high, you want it to work on low, medium, and high. And if it doesn't work on low, medium, high, you would bring it back. I use the lawnmower analogy. If it only worked in first and second gear, and it's supposed to work in first, second, and third, and didn't, you would bring it back down to Young's or Ridgefield Hardware, wherever you bought it, and say, give me one that works the right way. It's not just solving the problem. It's solving the problem in the right way and having the leadership to do that and step forward. So those are my 3 things. Long-term planning, you know, also doing things. I mean, we've studied things in this town forever now. We've studied the parking garage. We've studied the traffic thing.
Parking at the post office.
Parking at the post office. It took us 2 years to come up with an ordinance about animals on one road, which I think is a civil matter. And we spent 2 years of Board of Selectmen time arguing over that when there's many other issues that we could have just long-term planning. We could have had conversations about all those things, and that we just haven't done, and it's not right. It's just not right. And people might think, well, they're not crucial things. It's not affecting my quality of life that we're not doing those things. And maybe you're home and you're sitting, well, you know, we're doing pretty good here. Things aren't horrible. After all, it is Ridgefield, Connecticut. But it can get better. And why not strive for getting better? And I think a vote for me, regardless of the outcome of this election, a vote for me will certainly convey the message that these are things that were brought up during the election and we need them to be addressed. And that's what I think we need to do. If anything comes out of this, if some of those issues are addressed and solved, Rudy, I will feel very good regardless of whether I'm sitting in the seat in town hall or not. I will feel good inside knowing that I talked to the people, got the issues, I raised them up, and here they are, and now they're being addressed. At least now they're being addressed.
I've had the pleasure of getting to know Scott over this this campaign, and I've really appreciated the real affection that Scott has for this town. He's grown up in this town. He harkens back to a bygone era in Ridgefield when people weren't quite as fast-paced maybe as they are now. When people universally decided and realized that we needed to have the best possible education we could, and yet at the same time not have it be so burdensome that it's only the most affluent among us that can afford to live in Ridgefield. He harkens back to a bygone era when there was Bully's restaurant on Main Street, when, as you talked about, the block parties that you had. I think that's what Scott Mason represents. He wants to bring Ridgefield together, the old, the young, those with children in the school system, those with children that are raising children in town but they aren't in the school system. Maybe they go to St. Mary's or some of the other private schools. But he wants to unify this town around a common plan and a common love for this town, which caused us all to want to come live here in the first place and want us to stay in Ridgefield and be able to afford to retire here, and also, and I hear this all the time, see our children that we raised here be able to afford to live in this town as well. I think that's what Scott Mason represents. I've had a chance to get to know him. I've had a chance to see him talk to people as we knock on doors. His wife is a much beloved teacher in the Farmingville school system. He knows just about everybody in town as a result of working at Squashes and literally running a multi-million-dollar business at the Shell station there. So he knows everyone in town, and I think he would be a wonderful addition to town government. So I just appreciate the work that you've done on the Board of Ed.
Thank you.
I appreciate your commitment to town, and I really am impressed by the number of people that know you and love you and appreciate you. So it's November 1st. There are 4 or 5 more days until election night. And I guess just in closing, I want to encourage you to come out and vote. There are other candidates that are running as well for Board of Ed, Police Commission, Board of Finance, Selectmen, as well as First Selectman. But please, get educated on the issues, have a vision of what you would like to see Ridgefield be and continue to be and become, and then come out and exercise your right to vote. Scott, I'll give you the last word.
Thank you, Marty. I would just like people to hear both sides, hear all of the argument, and then make an informed decision, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat. I certainly would like the Republican vote. But regardless of that, hear both sides, hear the issues, and then make your decision. A lot of smart people in town make an informed decision, but vote. That is critical. Come out and vote. It's a right given that a lot of people don't have. You know what, and I just want to add one last thing, Marty. You know, one thing that got me upset is when a citizen in Ridgefield won a case in court, a civil case, that their civil rights were violated.
Yes, I saw it in the paper.
By the First Selectman. Regardless of what the fine was that the First Selectman had to pay, he was found guilty of violating civil rights. That's the point, not the amount of money that you have to pay for the fine. I tell you, that will never happen. I will never, ever violate someone's rights. When you think that due process was averted you and you didn't get that chance to do that, that is a problem. It can't happen. It happened with someone applying for the fire chief job. Just didn't think they got a fair shake. As long as you get a fair shake in life, you feel good about yourself.
Well, Scott,
thanks
again. Thank you very much for running. Appreciate everyone tuning in to Ideas at Work and Beyond. This is sort of a special edition of Ideas and Work just prior to the election. It's coming up around the corner. I know our viewers in Danbury have a heated election going on there, and I'm sure Helena as well as Mayor Bowden would appreciate you coming out and exercising your right to vote. So thanks again for tuning in. Next time when you see us, some of these election campaigns will be settled, and then we'll move ahead for really the betterment of the people in this region. So thanks again for joining us. Good night.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel